Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Audible, visible?
Yes, audible and visible.
Perfect.
Perfect. Welcome, Aastha.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
So, Aastha, my first question for you is describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh. Uh, right now, it's Saturday, so lazy, hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and happy,
Nice.
thankfully.
So, how are you working towards these three?
Oh, of course. For happy, it takes a lot of work. But this week, I've been working towards a lot of grounding practices that helps me, sort of brought back the happiness. So I've been running a lot. So I think that the whole week I went for runs, so that I can enjoy my weekend. I think this is more of my hormones talking than
That's nice.
endorphins are doing their magic.
Yeah, I mean, this is a time where you can just do whatever you can. I mean, it's also the weekend, so it completely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Astha, what led you to be a psychologist?
What led me to be a psychologist? Um, Again, I think I chose psychology, like to do my graduation in psychology initially because it was one of the subjects which really intrigued me in my 11th and 12th. That was one of the major reasons. At that point of time, I really liked political science also, but then I scored highest in psychology. And my mom was like after my life because she also like really liked this profession of being a psychologist. Though later she didn't allow me to go for therapy. But that's how I did my. That's how I entered. Like I did my graduation in psychology, and then while I was doing my graduation, I fell in love with the theory of the subject. So it was very clear for me that I want to do my masters in the subject. So thankfully, uh, I got my admission in a university. Then I did my masters, and while doing my masters, I did this course on expressive arts based therapy, which actually
Mm-hmm.
helped me understand that what magic actually can bring, like the therapy can bring in your life, because I went through the whole process, and then it was pretty clear to me that I want to be a psychologist because it's actually making some difference. So yeah.
So, you talk a lot about art therapy, I've noticed, and how would you distinguish it from other forms of therapy? Why do you emphasize so much on art therapy?
Basically also because art therapy takes in a lot many fields. It takes in psychoanalysis, it takes in CBT, it takes in humanistic psychology, and also the because I've been through the whole course, I've gone through whole expressive arts based therapy module. I can identify the changes it brings in. When I talk about art, it's very it's there with everyone. Everyone can connect to it. So for us, a lot of insight building is done, and which is done in a very short period of time. So, for example, if I'm taking a session and probably like an insight that comes to us is very like in a very it comes in a very quick amount of time, versus an insight that might come after we establish our trust, we establish our therapeutic relationship. So probably after, which might come after 10 sessions, it usually comes up in the second or third session. So that's one like very, very interesting thing that, I can tell you about that.
Yeah, I sort of understand these terms. Uh, so that's interesting. So, What role does mental health play in your life, being a psychologist?
Yeah, that's very important because it's not at all about preaching, uh, because you have to take care of your mental health, since you have to be very you have to take in so much. It's not just about what you know. It's not just about how you can sort of help people or treat people and objectively see their problems, but it takes a toll. Somehow, consciously or subconsciously, it takes a toll. So you start identifying with your clients, and even and as an individual also, you have a lot of things that are going in your life as well. So it's important. It's very, it gets important to take care of yourself. It does in every individual's life, but you have to actually like be in someone else's mind, like, and be in other people's mind, like at least twice or thrice or like 4 times a day. So I learned this very hard way, that it's not, I can't just preach. I have to apply. So I started doing a lot of I started in actually writing down what the suggestions that I started giving, and also then I go for therapy myself. So yeah, that's how I keep like my mental health in check.
Interesting. Yeah. These are a few things I think everybody should be talking about, and it's really, really interesting to know that this is how it works for you. Um, so when I Googled your name, the first thing that popped up were your YouTube channel, Mental Health and Chill, where you give mental health tips, suggestions, make a lot of creative videos. So, what was your idea behind this channel, and what exactly is the message that you want to deliver?
I think the idea was just key. People had very negative view about mental health. They always saw it, something that they don't have, that they don't need. And I felt that coming from like a digital media world, I knew that whatever you package well, people would want to accept it. And I thought this is these are few things people actually need in their life. So if I can sort of combine these two, make it fun, make the packaging more fun, and keep the content very very basic, make it more bring more examples in it, because otherwise I was seeing all the like all the seminars or the webinars or all the people at that point of time, not right now, talking about mental health were in white coats, and they were talking a lot about theories. And like I thought that there's a big disconnect between the theories and between the normal audience and the janta out there who just want to see fun elements, and which is fine also. Because when you go and you want to like see things on your screen, they should be fun. So I thought I can just combine those two, and that's what I brought a lot like art therapy techniques into it, and brought in my theory, made very example based out of it, and made like very small videos, hoping that people would see it. But yeah, I had to stop in between because it was getting too much for me. It was getting too much of work for me while I was taking my sessions. So I thought I'll just give it a break and like start after a while. So yeah, that was the idea.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, talking to people in a language they could understand about something so intense and something so important, I think that's definitely an idea that would work. What is the kind of response that you got?
I got great response. The response was really nice. I didn't expect, honestly. And I'm still getting messages on Instagram till date that we want more videos, and we want more videos on the YouTube channel. And I'm like, my scripts are ready, but of course now I can't shoot them. So I'm hoping like it's once. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah, okay. So the phone back. So once the pandemic, the whole situation, it relaxes a bit, then I'll get to shoot and hopefully get more videos.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed your videos. I love watching videos talking
Oh,
about
you
mental
did
health.
watch them?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I had come across your videos, I think like last year, one or two of them, but then
Hmm.
I didn't continue to watch all of them, but I saw a few, and then when I was, looking you up, I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Oh,
right, I
yeah.
had come across this.
Oh,
Yeah, it
great.
was pretty
Hmm.
interesting to watch. So, according to recent statistics, anxiety
Hmm.
disorder comes in many forms
Hmm.
and it affects millions of adults. And research states that it's often highly treatable, but only for one third
Hmm.
of people. And actually, one third of people end up getting cured or find solutions, but the others don't. So
Hmm.
at Sakshi, as an organization, we are constantly talking about how important mental health is. So, how do you think we can change the statistics and increase the number of people who find solutions?
I think it starts with talking. At this point of time, we can just like, because people don't know that these are symptoms of anxiety, or that they're getting anxious, or this is not the way to live. This is not normal. This is not just you have to go through. You can't just go and have a smoke or drink or eat your way out of it. Uh, you can actually not feel this way. And I think talking about it and identifying it that this is not normal is and also of course the whole stigma that is attached to talking about mental health, to seeking help, to seeking to doing anything is that, because when you say that कि हम we can, it's okay to not take, it's okay to go and meditate because it's acceptable, but it's okay to not go out and say no to people, that you also feel negatively about yourself and the other person also feels negatively about you. So I think at this moment talking and acknowledging are the two important things.
So, what are some of the activities? You talk a lot about art therapy, and in your videos,
Hmm.
I've seen you talking about coloring, painting, so many things. So, what are the few activities that you suggest that help reduce daily life anxiety?
Okay, daily life anxiety. It's first of all you need to understand, if the anxiety is actually what kind of anxiety you're going through. If it's manageable, or if it's now interfering in your daily life, in your personal life, on like people around you. So definitely, I would recommend, even if you don't feel any of anxiety, to just go and like get help, go to a psychologist, keep in check about your mental health. At the same time, if you are asking me about some activities that can sort of ground you, be it stress or anxiety, or just calm your body, there are lot of grounding exercises, there are breathing exercises,
Mm-hmm.
and there's zen painting. You can actually be very any ghar ki activity also you can do, which is very tactile. So you can actually go for a run. The idea is to be more in the present, doing activities that will ground you, that will bring you down, that will bring you back to the present is the sort of a goal. Because when you're more in present, then you'll able to identify ki, what is happening with me right now, and then you can take the next step of, okay, this is happening, what do I need to do about it? Am I sad? Am I angry? Am I stressed? Am I anxious? Is this something very physical that I can't handle? If it's something physical, then I would advise you to like go for a run, like after do jumping jacks, like for
Mm.
5 minutes do jumping jacks, and collapse your body. So your hormones are in place, and then you can think clearly. And because doing all these art activities, again, it's a process. You can't just like feel anxious, color and be okay. That's not the goal. The goal is you build towards it. You understand, you identify ki kya kya issues hai, and then you deal with them. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does. But the only question that I have in mind is, so there are obviously different types of anxiety. Obviously, there is everyday anxiety, and people very casually these days
Yeah.
say, I'm anxious. Oh my God, this makes me anxious. And how, at what point do you identify that, oh my God, this is the time, now is the time I seek help, this is getting out of my hand? What are some of the signs that indicate that professional intervention is necessary? How do you differentiate it from just being nervous? How do you differentiate a normal panic attack from an anxiety attack?
Ideally, whatever I will tell is given in text. You can just simply Google it and you'll get an answer to it. But again, where I'm coming from, I'm saying get help even with you if you don't feel that you have any problem. Go for therapy. Go for group therapy. Then you'll be able to identify it apne aap. Because basic symptoms you will get, you get nausea, you feel that you have blackouts, you choke, your heartbeat goes fast. So these are few indicators which everyone at this point of time know or simply can Google. So the idea, ideally, everyone should go take help. Everyone should go for therapy, group therapy, and be more aware of their mental health. Because at this point of time, you go to the gym to do certain types of exercises, right? According to your body type. And simple exercises everyone can do. Running, koi bhi kar lega, or basic sports you can. Even to do sports, a trainer needs to be there to tell you that this is the right posture to do the sports. In a similar way, a mental health professional will help you design an activity which will help you to sort of calm your nerves down. And again, so if you're feeling anxious, that sometimes your thoughts are racing, your heartbeat is just going too fast, you are sweating, you're thinking too much about that something's gonna go wrong, but you don't know what's gonna go wrong. And that has started to sort of create some problem for you in your personal life. Abhi personal life में problem हो रही है, professional life में problem हो रही है. It's creating a problem, like people around you, because of all these thoughts, because of all these the situation you are in. They are feeling you can actually see the symptoms in other arenas of your life, and it's just not something that you felt and then you put it aside. You can push it over and then start doing another activity productively. If it's affecting your productivity, then again, this is a very major warning sign.
Yeah, this makes sense. This is one question which a lot of people have, like, how do you identify if you have clinical anxiety, or is it just you feeling nervous? And because the word anxiety and anxious is so famous and so popular and so casually used, how do you know if you actually have a mental illness? So this makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Astha. So my next question to you is about stress. So stress sometimes drives you towards your goals and otherwise leads to anxiety and hypertension. It usually comes down in two forms, eustress and distress. So, how to identify the point at which stress turns into a motivating factor to an unhealthy one? How do you draw the barrier?
Okay, eustress is positive stress, distress is the negative stress. And both kind of stress sort of helps you to move forward in life. But at the same point, when the distress is causing problems to your productivity, and it's no more ki, my test is coming up, so I won't study, I'll just study in the last 3 days, because that creates some amount of stress for me, and I'm able to work in able to work in that framework better. So you do that. Some people have that kind of framework to give their examination. But when in those 3 days you feel that you feel numb, you can't move, you can't even move to look at your books, and you are just like sort of passively scrolling on your phones and doing everything to avoid that, that is when that is the negative stress, that you cannot even look at the stimulus that is causing problem. So that's where you draw the line, because it has impacted your productivity. Jab tak stress is being productive for you, you're using it in your way. Once it has stopped, it has hampered your productivity, then again, that's time. You need to identify and work according to it, like work things out around it.
Would you say that social media contributes towards stress, or would you say it contributes towards relaxation?
That's a fine line that you have to do.
Because you mentioned that a lot of people, when they're stressed, they just take their phones and they keep scrolling through it. And do you think that's a good idea, or do you think people should avoid doing that? In the sense, how do you think that we can reduce this negative stress in our life, and what role do you think social media plays in it?
Specifically targeting, talking about social media, it's where you need to actively draw the line. Very important is the word. The important word here is the active, because you say that you and but the moment we say that we want to we are going on a break or we're taking rest, we just pull out our phones, we start scrolling, or we call someone, or we watch a movie, anything, we start Netflix and chill. The idea is to not do anything. Do it, not do anything for 5 minutes, because when you don't do anything for 5 minutes, you start hearing phantom vibrations. The whole idea of ki nahi mujhe phone chahiye, you start seeing your looking at your phone if it's buzzing or if there's a notification, because we have become addicts to that we all are addicts. At the same time, social media has helped also in a situation which is very when we are really stressed. Taking out a phone and talking to someone or doing a social media, it also helps. It has helped a lot of people, especially with social anxiety. They don't feel alone. So it's the fine line that you draw. The idea is to actively not make it a part of your life, at least for 5 minutes a day. Once you start doing, just not do anything. When you take a break from your phone, from your TV, and just sit with yourself for 5 minutes. It sounds very easy, but it's not. I've been practicing it, and you feel the withdrawal in those 5 minutes also. So then, you're able to draw the line next time, am I passively doing this? Or I really need to, sort of block things and see what's going on, what's happening in my friend's life. Yeah, and not just, another 2 seconds of information that we are, or a social media binge that we are doing.
Yeah. So what are some other techniques that easy day-to-day ideas or techniques that could reduce stress, be it for working professionals, be it for students, be it for anybody, daily stress? What are some things that has helped you, and as a psychologist you would recommend for people who might be watching?
Okay, doing breathing exercise has really helped me because it just brings in the change in, again, the hormones that are going in our body. Actually breathing exercise, there's a research that the cortisols, which are the stress hormones, it reduces the amount, it increases the amount of endorphins and serotonin in your body. So definitely going with breathing exercises, especially when you're stressed, just go out and do your breathing exercises. Other than that, there's an activity called listening to 5 things that are around you. So you just name 5 things that's happening around you. That five sounds that you can hear. Sometimes it gets difficult, but that's when the activity becomes more interesting. So basically, again, you come back to the present, and then you have more resources to deal with the stress. That's because you can't change, of course, the factors, but it'll give you, you will be more productive, you'll be more active in how to deal with the problems.
Yeah, this makes sense. And I think you've also spoken about these things on your YouTube. Um, it's really interesting to look at things from this perspective, because I think things like these are very less spoken about, especially because of the
Yeah,
whole stigma around mental health, which brings up my next question. Things like log kya kahenge, it's just a phase, get over it.
yeah,
Mental health is just, you're just delusional. Things like these are the, stigmas attached typically to mental health. So,
definitely,
how do you
definitely.
address the mindset that dismisses the requirement of professional support for mental health? As in, how do you counter the stigma attached to those who feel mentally ill or those who seek mental health support?
Again, as I mentioned that, my mom had, reservations, her own reservations when I first said that I wanted to start taking therapy. And she's like, you're a psychologist, why do you need therapy? And I'm like, wow. What if, a doctor, like a certain kind of doctors have, pet dard ho raha hai. If a general physician, they would want to go and get it checked, right? But yeah, that's true. We have reservations because they didn't because people have, we never talked about it. It was never in our framework when we were growing up, nor in our parents' generation, nor before that. There was no idea about acha, mental health is a different thing from your physical health. They give a lot of impetus on having a good, like having good meal, having nutritious meals and taking care of your health, because they knew कि, oh, this is something that you have to take care of for longevity, or for a better life. To Now, I think if you don't know about something, you will always have reservations about it, right? Even when the gyms came into the picture, people were very reserved. Why do you have to pay money to get fit? You can just like have a basic healthy lifestyle and go for a run. There are so many parks around. But now they're more accepting. There are people like I see my parents going for nutritionists and dietitians and the whole, and they're also going to gyms. Now it is becoming more accepted because now they're understanding, because there are more more people are talking. There are more theories about it. The media is talking about it. So I think same is with mental health. If you don't know about something, you will be regressive about it, about any new thing that is going to come into the picture. And especially when we talk about mental health, the first idea is this is pagal. They're going to treat the pagals.
Yeah,
Because we
crazies.
have very less research also them, and we are also scared of them because they're different, they're deviant. Now we need to tell now it's our sort of we need to tell what is different, and how even agar if we didn't know what पेट दर्द was, किसी का बहुत ज़्यादा पेट दर्द हो रहा है and the person is crying, that would also have been a very deviant process. So I think it's gonna be more and more like you're actively talking about these things in your dining table, reading more about it, going like more movies are coming up, so more watching movies like that, like those with your parents. A lot of I've got people coming in through after watching Dear Zindagi. So yeah, I think it's coming. It's happening. It's just our part to talk more about it and spread the awareness. As simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, Dear Zindagi is a very important movie, I'd say. Like, there are barely any Indian movies which talk
Yeah.
about mental health. This happens to be one of them, and I'm really glad it happened.
Yeah.
Like, I remember even me going to my therapist after Dear
Oh,
Zindagi, and
interesting.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, a little bit about our organization and why we're doing this. So we at Sakshi, we are working towards prevention of child sexual abuse and gender-based violence. And one of our most important resolution mechanisms includes psychological aid because we acknowledge how crucial it is and how much child sexual abuse can affect the abused. So child sexual abuse mostly has been correlated with higher levels of depression, guilt, shame, self-allegation, eating disorders, somatic concerns, anxiety, dissociative patterns, denial, etc. And it's when it comes to children, it's very difficult to get them to speak about their experiences because they don't have the language to express what is happening to them, whether it's physically or mentally. They don't know what sexual abuse is, they don't know what trauma is, they don't know what is happening to them, right? So what is your suggestion, firstly, on adults recognizing the symptoms in children of potential abuse?
I think being more aware, being more observant, because mostly parents are also they are stuck in a routine, stuck in a rut, with their demanding tuitions and their schoolwork, and all the social obligations that they have. They're stuck in a rut, and their routine so much that they become a lot more passive. So of being more observant of their behaviors, that why a child is throwing a tantrum, if if in front of some people, or in general, if the child is being more mute in some situations, and and if the child is basically saying no, try to understand the no. If probably saying that I don't want to go see a shopkeeper, because mostly parents are like, if you want to go get chips, just go get chips. And बहुत ही पास में अगर shop है, so they say, if they're like, no, I don't want to go, just ask them, if I come with you, would you want to go? And if the answer is yes, probably, if the answer is no to something, and if you're doing it with them and the answer is yes, it's a different, when you are with them in the certain social situation, it can be like one of those signs. And then of course it's just you have to give them a lot more options, understand those options, why a child is choosing for a certain option and not for the other option. So I think these are the few very basic things that you can do. Identifying, talking more to them about their tantrums, if they're being more distant, if they're being mute, and giving them more options.
So yeah, this makes sense. 90% of the abusers happen to be someone close to the family of the child, or the child themselves, like family members or acquaintances, relatives, teachers, neighbors. 90% of these abusers are known people. So in such situations, how do we equip these children with the language to express the impact of CSA on them? How do we go about it?
Okay. Again, I would like, from my perspective, I think have some have a certain time dedicated to them, wherein again, when you're just doing something, or you can actually do a lot of art stuff, very creative stuff, which is where the goal is not to teach them anything, where the goal is not to teach them how to make mountains or sun is yellow, or the leaves are green, sky is blue, not that, but just do whatever you want. It can be like also for half an hour a day, or 1 hour in 2 days. Be more creative with them. Just bring in clay and dough, or do it with art if you don't have anything else, and make some figures out of it. And then you can tell, and you can ask them to make a story from those figures. And while you're just drawing, start talking about any random thing. Ask them to build few stories, because they will build stories about from the experiences they have. So they can tell you what is good for them, what is bad for them. And even if they don't have the language to express, they will express it if it's causing them some kind of physical discomfort or emotional discomfort. So, yeah.
That's a
Again,
very
the very
interesting
basic
method.
things.
Yeah, go on.
Basically touch the non-verbal aspect. It's very difficult for children to verbalize these things. In general, also, even for adults who have been through abuse, it's difficult for them to relive the trauma and talk about it. So, what especially the expression does for you, art therapy does for you, is bring in a non-verbal language when it gets too painful for you to express your emotion emotionally or physically. So
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting aspect because a lot of children obviously can't speak out because they don't know what's happening. But yeah, I've seen this and read about this in a few places as to how art or children usually when they're scared of something they'll draw
writing,
it.
storytelling, music, because all these forms are very non-threatening. You're not telling a kid कि हम हर रोज आपसे आके बात करेंगे. We'll have a heart to heart because they don't understand the concept. They will be like, आप हमें डांटने के लिए बिठा रहे हो. Or why are we even sitting? I want to go play. Right.
Yeah,
so this becomes very non-threatening and very permeable sort of way to reach out to kids.
So when it comes to therapy and healing, what kind of conversations can we have with children to encourage them to take therapy?
With children, I guess depending upon what if they're going through an issue, specifically if there is an attention issue, or if there are if there's going a lot of tantrums, or if it's just they're bad mouthing, or that if it's specific issue, then of course you need to take them to a particular therapy. Otherwise, I think the concept of therapy and healing can come in beautifully through group therapy for kids. I would always recommend group therapy for kids, where they come in together and they build something together, and of course they learn a lot of from their peers. So it's peer support group also. So that way they will be able to understand and identify also a lot of healing that comes through group therapy. So yeah, I think these are it's very basic.
So when people look at therapy, they see it as a straight jacket solution. The understanding is that a few sessions will resolve the trauma and the trauma will go away. And the question often comes to us is, what if the children can't get over the trauma only using therapy? What would be your response to such queries?
So therapy is, again, as you said, is not a straight answer. You might need different therapists. You might need different kinds of therapy also. I think it will sort of help you understand कि बाकी जगहों पे क्या difference लाना है. So if you have to bring in a difference in, say, the kind of play that they're doing, like the activities, how they are playing, or the kind of school they are going, or the kind of interest that they have. Therapy won't bring the whole world into your room, but it will sort of give you a key to explore a lot many areas.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. So what kind of therapy, in your opinion, is child friendly? Like, how can we positively aid children through the process of healing?
Again, I think art therapy works great with kids since it's very non-threatening, and children generally they are more interested in not like you can't just make them sit and talk. So we incorporate a lot of movement, a lot of storytelling, writing, and music, and drama, and, visual arts. So I think that's very engaging with children. It works really well. Some people all generally think that it's just for children. Art therapy is only for children. Of course, which is not true, but then it works great with kids. Yeah. And you
Art
can
therapy.
incorporate also a lot of activities. Like parents also come in and have their sessions so that they can have all the aids according which are designed according to the kids and use them in ghar and their everyday lives. I think that's one really great approach to look at it.
Definitely. And I think for children, art is one of the best ideas to express themselves. Creative expression, something again that us as an organization we promote and we encourage. I recently spoke to you about our student community, so we also encourage them to express whatever they've learned, whatever they feel about things, because sometimes when you can't speak about intense things such as these, you express it via art, be it poetry, music, just painting,
Poetry, yes.
sketching, anything. So yeah, thank you for your approach on this. So when abuse becomes a suppressed issue, it leads to problems that persist through adulthood. So what is your advice to adults on how they can address repressed, unresolved trauma?
Okay. So if it's suppressed and if it's it's repressed, so it's there are high chances that you don't even know that it's affecting you, right? But again, it is affecting you. It's coming out in a very subconscious way. So that's why when I say that everyone should go for therapy is to also identify such that that things are affecting them, because that's the job of our unconscious, to repress memories which are too painful for us to handle. We don't want to live through those memories, so that's the only job, to repress those memories and deal with it later. But you don't actually bring it out and sort of deal with it later. It will affect you. It will affect your personal life. That's when the grief comes in, the whole grief cycle. You don't know what you're going through is actually trauma. I was working with a client once, and after 3 or 4 months, like we came to an understanding that 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 incident also happened. There was this incident where the person, but session she told me, but she was very okay with it, and then we didn't talk about that abuse for next 3 to 4 months, and we were having regular sessions. And once we were doing an activity, we were doing a movement activity where she remembered that incident again. And then after for 1 month, we just spoke about that one incident that happened, which, very clearly she mentioned me on the first session that, this is not what I'm coming for. This does not affect me. So you can be aware.
It was a form of repressed.
I think it's important to take that journey with a trained professional to help you identify your trauma and deal with it.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we encourage people to go to doctors, to go to psychologists, to seek therapy, because I personally advocate mental health a lot, because I have been in therapy since I was 11 years old. All this makes sense to me. All this makes complete sense to me. And I really hope that at some point our country reaches a point where therapy is normal. Therapy is just like going to any other doctor for any other physical illness, like a cold, a fever, or anything. Just like that, and especially I think another thing I wanted to ask you is adolescents. They go through a lot of things, and every time I have seen a lot of people approach me, put up posts on social media that whenever they've tried talking about mental health, it's often overruled as puberty or hormones or just crazy emotions that people are going through. So how would you, what is a strong message that would you would like to give to the youth of this generation to stand up against these stigmas and promote and encourage mental health?
I think when we're talking about adolescence, that is, you are the hormones are making you go crazy. That's, I think, very difficult to go through. I wish I had a therapist at that point of time in my life. I so wish my life would have been so much different and so much better, especially with new understanding of relationships, new understanding of your body, and the hormones are just like partying inside it. It would have been lovely if I would have just had a professional, guiding me and just validating my experience, that it's okay to cry. It's okay to, like someone this much. It's okay to, and I think the strong message that I can give is the youth, during our youth, we have this ability to rebel. We love to rebel, because again, we have the hormones are partying inside us. We just want to sort of, find our new groundings, and we have also the ability to, go against the latency period where we want to be, the part child. We want, because when we are kids, we want to be liked by our parents and everyone, and but the moment we come in, like after 12 or 13, we are more rebellious. We ask for things that we want. So that's the power you've got. Use it wisely. Rebel for the right things. Don't rebel for just night outs, or to stay over at your friends, but also talk about mental health, and ask for a lot of things. A lot of lives are happening. There are a lot of things that are happening that at this point of time जितना बिल्कुल नहीं था पहले. So be more active, participate in them more, and yeah, use your rebellion for all the right reasons.
True.
Yeah.
So, Astha, as you know, Sakshi, through its Rakshin Project, is in the process of engaging with 40 lakh youth in our country to stop child sexual abuse. And some of these Rakshins have a few questions related to mental health. So, would you be open to answer maybe a couple of them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so one definitely is not every parent understands the concept of therapy in our society. Some traumatic could affect the child's mental development in his adult life for sure. So, how does that victim seek therapy without being judged or being denied therapy by their parents themselves?
Again, when I think when we talk about these situations, the major concern with parents is about the money. They don't find it key, we have to spend money on it. Key. And for kids also, they're open to take therapy, but they're like, we don't have the money to go forward with it, and then they can't ask their parents. For that, I think there are a lot of organizations who are doing free work. Again, I can also send in you a few links. They're doing free work. Reach out to your school counselors. That it's been now it's a rule that every school should have, I think, 2 counselors, which is again very less. It's a very less number, but at least now all the schools are mandatory. Like, it's mandatory to have 2 counselors on board. So reach out to them. They will have better resources to even deal with their parents, because when it comes from a position of authority, they have a better understanding of it also. So I think these are the 2 ways that people, kids, adolescents can go about their therapy needs, or they can reach out without sort of offending their parents.
Yeah,
and it can be like a push card for the parents also.
Absolutely. And another question is, how can someone who's sexually assaulted overcome depression?
This is not something that I answer in like one line. And it's not just about someone who's been abused. Like anyone who's going through depression or any sort of mental illness, it's a whole process. It takes in a lot of work, and you have to be regular at it. So it's a long process that you have to go through to be to come out of depression, to treat depression.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think depression is something you can just get rid of by taking a few sessions of therapy. It's
Yeah,
definitely
and you have to alter your therapy sessions also. You have to see if you want to take in medicines. You have to bring in pharma, or you can, if you want to stick to psychotherapy. So yeah, it's a very long, it's a long process. It can't be answered in one line, as much as I want to give you an answer.
yeah, we'll definitely maybe try having you on board again to discuss these things in
Yeah.
you would be up for it.
Sure.
My final question to you is often children who are abused, they grow up, they tend to fall into practices like substance abuse, severe drugs, because they feel like only that is what keeps them going. So, what must he or she do to live a normal life?
Okay. And we people who have been through trauma, they try to sort of cope up, or build in a lot of defense mechanisms to survive. Now when you identify that if things are happening, if you're falling into substance abuse, if your defense mechanisms are sort of creating a problem for you, at least physically, it might help you at that point of time mentally to keep on going. But if they're having a physical impact on you, then again you can it's time to identify and take care of the problem. Talking
So,
more about it with your
identifying that.
friends. Yeah, having the support group, starting with being going to a support group and then to like a professional is the answer.
So, where can you find a few of these support groups, especially since it's quarantine and not a lot of people can go physically for therapy? Are there any platforms that you would recommend where people could go speak, like on a group platform, or as I said, group therapy? Do you know any like places or sites or forums where people could discuss this?
Okay, the group therapies are happening. Fortis, they take a lot of groups where there are where they deal. It's not support group. They're not doing support groups, but they do take in a lot of sessions. That's one place where you can go. And other than, there are a lot of anonymous groups. You have to check in, and they were of course they were happening. They were taking place before COVID, in a very like socially. But now I hope they have moved online. Now I don't know the status, but of course there were a lot of anonymous groups that they meet. So yeah.
Interesting. Would
Yeah, but
definitely like
that's something that we can think. I should think about starting, taking in groups,
making groups. You mean?
making groups, and like taking a session of a group. So
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Astha, for coming on
so
board
much.
today and having this conversation. So, I would just like to end this conversation by saying this one simple maxim that we have: ना करेंगे ना करने देंगे, हो रहा है तो रोक के रहेंगे, और अगर हुआ है तो बोल के रहेंगे. And I would like to also share about Sakshi's campaign, Make Home a Safe Space. So I would encourage all of you to visit that and encourage us to create a Rakshin, or a preventer in every home, capable of de-escalating violence and preventing child sexual abuse. I also invite you, Astha, and all our viewers today to our Freeview webinar, which happens every Sunday. It's happening tomorrow, which is for anyone who wants to join the movement against child sexual abuse and become a Rakshin. You can find the link in our bio. You'll find a link tree where you can find the link to our Kiddo campaign, to our registration Sunday webinars, and also to our website. So if anyone is interested in this movement against child sexual abuse and domestic violence, do definitely attend the webinar tomorrow. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Asta, for joining. And
you luck for whatever happens and hope to collaborate with you soon once again.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.